Well, greetings gamers. This is Dr. Ayleen, the Gaming Doc, and this is your place and your space to be able to sit back, chat, chill, tell a joke. Jokes are nice. And just take a breath and take it easy and acknowledge that at the very least you made it through Monday, and whether it is a morning, afternoon, evening, or night, I hope it is a good one for you. And right out the box we have JJ the Bunny, my dear friend, aka, and I'm going to do these AKAs just because I enjoy them, Punny Bunny, aka Funny Bunny, aka Hugs Bunny, aka the Jackalope. I took a breath and I'm not giving it back. See? Funny Bunny, Punny Bunny. I'm telling you, when JJ is in the house, it is nothing but hilarity ensuing. And we've got Papa Merritt in the house. My buddy down there deep in the heart of Texas, and who is my additional tech support, and who is just an awesome and up-and-coming streamer who's working real hard to build up his stream. And Warlord Riku! Well, hello! Yes, you're very welcome. Thank you for yours. And hey, guys, Warlord Riku, who is in the house, who is a streamer, who, definitely you want to go and check him out. Because, there's so many, really interesting folks out streaming games. And the thing is that you just never know. I mean, it's like you could have the same game being streamed by a dozen different streamers, and yet each one is going to be unique. And as I sit and try to do all these things at once, it really is an opportunity for not only to, learn different ways of playing a game. You can learn all kinds of different ways to get to know people. And it is, it really is an opportunity, because I have gotten to meet so many wonderful and amazing folks who are just, they're out there to, enjoy gaming. They're out there for the love of the game, and they're also there to help out. They're also there to be there for people. And Papa Merritt, I got something to say. Okay, Papa Merritt, what have you got to say? Odsons! So good to see you. Live life to the fullest. Ding, ding, ding. Absolutely. It is, that is just, I'm telling you, that is straight wisdom. Because, when we live life to less than the fullest, when we live life based on, focusing on what we don't have and what we don't feel like we can achieve, or, buying into other people's hard stories about us that, it's not true unless we decide it's true. But when you go out and you embrace each day for the miracle that it is, and if you just go, what cool nonsense can I get into today? What can I do that's going to amuse me? What can I do that is going to make me feel better? What is going to make a great story at the end of the day if somebody were to ask me, how was your day? And we answer, you know what? I'm glad you asked. And to be able to relate something. I asked the girl out yesterday. At this point, I'm just waiting for her to say yes or no. Fingers crossed for you, Papa. I hope that, I hope it works out, for you. I know this is important to you. So, we'll cross our fingers for you. And it is and that's the thing about life, is that there's always opportunities, there's always challenges, there's always, you know, that leap of faith that we can take. Amazing things, while they sometimes will just happen, sometimes we got to give it a helping hand, and sometimes we have to actually make something amazing happen. And it's not as hard or as complicated as a lot of people might think. You know, being able to create one amazing thing. It could be as simple as, you know, trying a restaurant you never tried before. Or, you know, playing a game that has been sitting on your shelf for a while, you know, just for the fun of it. Maybe it's, you know, just going outside, you know, looking up at the sky and staring at clouds for a while. Whatever it is that can shake things up, that can make things a little different, maybe remind you of a simpler time in your life. Go for it. And we got to create that stuff. We've got to sometimes make the miracle happen. And, you know, we can do that. Yeah, to me, it's a miracle that this technology exists at all. I mean, I am not the most technical person. The fact that I have figured out as much of this as I have, and with huge help, you know, much help. Angus! Oh my gosh. Oh, I have no audible on your stream, but hi. Hi. You don't have, well, anyway. Angus, love you. Angus, folks, you need to click on this name, because this young man is just, you know, he's amazing. He is, I mean, his heart is just, you know, as big as all the outdoors. He has worked so hard. And I mean, he streams at a schedule that I could not even imagine. And he is, you know, he is just, you know, and his work has paid off. You know, he's getting up there in those ranks. And, you know, nothing but absolute heartfelt respect for this young man who works so hard and going to school, you know, and, you know, he just, you know, he just has my heart. He is so sweet. And, you know, I love going over and getting a chance to stop by and say hi. And, you know, he's very active on Twitter. He's active on other social media. But he is just such a person. He engages so much with his chat while he's streaming. And I mean, like, hardcore, you know, more than 8 hours, more than 10 hours, more than, you know, 12 hours. You know, he will just give it his all. And he is making his miracle happen. You know, he does that every single day. So, you know, it's Angus, since you don't have audio, Angus. So, okay, I'm just going to put into chat about you. You know, he is just, you know, one of the reasons that, you know, I will always have a very positive viewpoint of the future with young people like this. And, you know, and it really is that, you know, that simple thing of making your miracle happen and being willing to work your butt off for it. And sometimes, you know, it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to move forward when you feel like everything's going up against you. Sometimes it's hard to move forward when, you know, you've got people telling you that what you're doing is a waste of time, that you should be doing other things, that you should be someone else. You know what? Someone else is already taken. You know, when people say it's like, oh, you know, well, you know, I want to be just like you. It's like, well, me is taken. I'm very busy being me. But the world really needs you. And it does. You know, when I talk at, you know, the end of my stream about how you are the only you in all of the universe, I'm not making that up. That is true. And you are. Which means that you're needed. You're not needed to be someone else. You're needed to be you. And it is, you know, I just, I used that yesterday for something actually. Well, feel free. Anybody can use that, you know, go ahead, because the more people who understand that, the better. The more people who understand how important they are, how much they matter. And that's kind of hard, because we all, and I do mean all, have those moments when we question whether or not we matter. And we question whether or not, you know, we're doing good things in life, whether we're doing enough. Oh my gosh. That whole idea of, am I doing enough, or am I enough? Are you off today? Actually, yes, I am. I don't have to see any patients today because there was a bunch of computer work that I need to get done. So I am taking the day to stay at home and get the computer stuff I need done. So yes, I am off today. So hit me up, and I believe you're streaming tonight. And that is also something that I know normally it's like the whole, you know, don't self-promote on other people's streams, but I am open to people promoting their streams. So, you know, if you guys have a stream today, if you've got something going on, you know, go ahead and post it. It's okay, because I want people to know, you know, what it is you're doing, and, you know, and to be able to pass along, you know, the wonderful support that I've gotten. You know, I'm just an old boomer lady who lives on a mountain. And the idea that I've gotten so much love your positivity. We need more people like you in the world, Doc. Oh, right back at you, Warlord. You know, because I feel like it's a part of what, you know, before I leave this life, I want to have as many people realize how amazing they are as possible. And that, you know, that doesn't mean pretending like everything is great all the time, because it's not. Because there are times when, you know, as you know, my saying goes, life is fun until it isn't, and it sucks until it doesn't. And sometimes it truly sucks. And it's at those times that we need to be able to acknowledge, yes, this sucks, this is horrible, this is hard, and maybe I need some help. And to realize that there will be a time when it doesn't. And that it's not bigger than you. It's not stronger than you. I don't care what it is you're facing. It is not stronger than you. There is something inside of each and every one of us that helps us make it through things. And sometimes we do need to, you know, get that. Today is one of those sucks days. Slept wrong and my back is killing me. Oh, JJ. You know what? It breaks my chiropractor's heart to hear something like that, because the first thing I think is, I can fix that. Oh, see, if TwitchCon San Diego, you know, and you've already said you're going, I am thinking about bringing my portable table. So that way it's like, if somebody's having a back problem, I can actually work on them. So yeah, you know, hang in there. Ice is your friend. Gentle stretching. Make sure you're getting enough calcium, because often if we're not getting enough calcium and we're not getting enough vitamin D and potassium, which helps the body use calcium, drops in calcium can increase the chances of muscle spasms. So just make sure that, you know, you're getting enough nutrients in. And Jay Stun Z, I'm having a back problem. Oh, I'm telling you, I'm bringing my portable table. You know, I just, whenever I see somebody do that, it hurts something inside of me, because it's like, oh, the first thing I think of is like, okay, first I do this, and then I do this, and then I do this. But yes, my nameless family, my, you know, my farming partner in crime, which I haven't gotten to the farm, you know, in a long time. So, you know, I can get back there. I'm helping. I'm thinking about getting a massage gun. Hopefully it will help. I've never heard of a massage gun, but, you know, pretty much almost anything with massage attached to it is a good thing. But, you know, we have animals now. Oh, I've never had any chiropractic work done. Dude, I would be happy to introduce you to that, because one of the things now, you know, like mechanics and dentists and everything else, there are those of us who work in a particular way and those of us who, you know, shall we say, work differently than the way I do. Okay, chiropractor moment. My feeling is that any attempt to adjust through a tight muscle is really not very productive. I was a massage therapist before I became a chiropractor, which means that anybody I work on loosening the muscles first. I do longer appointments because of the fact that I want to take time to be respectful of what somebody is going through, and to be able to be respectful that their body, when it's hurting, it's not going to want to move. So that means I have to get it to relax first and take the time to get something to relax, to make sure that the person I'm adjusting first understands exactly what I'm going to do. And second, that, you know, they understand that if they're not comfortable with that, I can adjust them any way they want. They get to decide how I adjust them. So, you know, it is, to me, you know, it's always interesting because, you know, I can, you know, if somebody is like, you know, they're already down on the table and I'm getting ready to work on them, I walk up to the table and I can see their body tensing up. And so what I do is I take a step back and I say, have you ever been hurt by a chiropractor? And they'll say, well, yeah, you know, this one time. I said, okay. And I get them up and we sit down and we talk about what that experience means. And it takes a little bit of extra time. And it's important to me because what their body is responding to is the memory. It has associated a particular memory with me. And so what I need to do is show the body that I respect it and that I need to earn the trust. You know, I'm honored that people come to me and have me work on them because they trust me. And I know that it's not about the person consciously trusting, it's about their body's instinct trusting. That I have to earn. And I think there's something very important about the idea of, you know, earning. Looks like your bot is running twice. See, first I couldn't get it to run once. Now it's like running twice. I swear, elves make this thing work. And for some reason, they're deciding to have a fun time. But, you know, that idea of each person is important. That's why, you know, in my work, in everything I do, it's always about that person understanding how important they are and understanding that they have rights and that they have autonomy. And I think that's something that a lot of people miss out on, is their autonomy. That just because someone else says something doesn't make it true. Just because someone creates a judgment about you doesn't make it true. No one gets to decide stuff about you because you are a unique being in the universe. And no matter how much someone may know you, they don't know all there is to you because they're not you. And we all have those things that, you know, that are deep inside of us, maybe that we don't share. And you know, you have every right to be the person that you are evolving into, including the right to make mistakes. You know, I've heard a lot of talk about, you know, things like cancel culture. And in everything, to me, in my little humble view, everything in life has both a light side and a shadow side. Absolutely everything. No matter how good you may believe something is, there's always a shadow side to it. And no matter how bad something is, there's always an aspect that we can learn from, something that will move us forward. So the idea that we can be able to embrace both sides of that within ourselves, that we can understand, you know what? You know, I have my good days and my bad days, and there's some things that I've really mucked up beyond, you know, comprehension. But I learned from them. And I don't think people should spend their time beating themselves up over things that actually ended up teaching them a lot, which they wouldn't have learned had they not made that mistake. You know, we're not defined by our mistakes. How we can define ourselves is by what we learn from it and how we respond to it and how we grow from it. And the same can be said for the mistakes of others. You know, and that does not mean that people doing truly horrible things in the world should be without consequence. Of course, everything has a consequence. Absolutely. Even good stuff has a consequence. And again, that can be a consequence we like or a consequence we don't like. You know, you could do something. Okay, as an example, I have a friend who opened a door there was a woman walking in behind him, so he stopped. He opened the door because, you know, he was raised that way. Wonderful thing, a wonderful gesture, very polite. And the woman ripped into him, you know, saying it's like, well, you know, I can open a door by myself, and by opening a door for me, you're like devaluing me. You know, just because I'm a woman doesn't mean that I need a door open. And she just went on. And I've seen that a few times. And it was like, oh my gosh. And I actually saw this happen. You know, a friend and I were going into you know, like a fast food place. I think it was like a Wiener Schnitzel or something. And a guy ahead of us opened a door for the woman. She gave him that. I mean, I don't know if this is a script that's being handed out somewhere, but she gives him this whole thing. And I could just see the look on his face like, what the heck? You know, and so he goes in and he's standing in line, and I could see he's alternating between angry and hurt. And so I went up to him and I said, excuse me. And he looked at me, and like the first impulse was like, what? And I feel this wave of, you know, okay, what are you going to say? And I said it loud enough for the woman to hear. I said, I just want to let you know that, you know, you are exactly the kind of person that I will hope my sons will grow up to be. That the tradition of courtesy that you showed, you know, that's something that, you know, no matter what anybody says to you, you did the right thing. And as a woman, I appreciate when a gentleman is, you know, willing to hold a door for me, which proves that, you know, I said, and that proves that, you know, you must have had a very good upbringing, you know, in order to be able to do that without even thinking. You didn't even think about that. You showed courtesy for another human being. And if you were not shown courtesy, I'm sorry. But know that there are far more of us who appreciate a gentleman than who resent it. And the way his face lit up, and the way, and it's really weird because I don't know if people watch that video and then decide, oh, that's the correct way to respond when somebody's nice to you. I don't get it. And like I said, and the woman is standing there in the line and she won't even look at me. And the guy relaxed, and I could see everything in him relax. And I mean, he almost teared up. And he said, thank you. Thank you so much. I try to be a good person. I wasn't always a good person. And I try to remember that and to take good care of other people. And so I said, you know what? I said, you are a good example. You are being a part of the solution. I said, that saying, about, be the change you want to see in the world. I said, you're being that change. Don't ever let anybody take that away from you. And I'm hoping that the woman learned from it. I'm hoping that she learned when somebody does a kind act, you don't look for shadow in it. Because that's all she was looking for. She was seeking offense. And that's not okay. It's not okay to take out whatever insecurity you're carrying out on somebody who's just trying to be nice, who's just trying to be civil. So, it is, and because I grew up in the generation where, that was just, my brothers all learned. I was taught to open doors, especially for women, but really for everyone. Brain doesn't always remember, but I try. Yeah. I mean, I will do that if, I was raised, it's like, look, if you've got an elder walking behind you, you open that door, you hold it for them, and you let them go first. You don't, just walk in ahead of somebody because, growing up at the point that I did, that was just something that was done. I remember my brothers getting told, it's like, okay, if a lady comes into the room, you stand up. And, if there's someone on a bus, if a lady comes on and you're sitting, you offer them your seat if there's no seats available, because that's kind of what we did. And, we have this saying where I live, if you continue to hold the door, you'll be standing there all day and people don't mind. Well, that is true. And eventually, because what I always believe is that for all the people who hold the door for me, for all the people who are kind to me, for all the people who, because there have been times when, I was being treated badly somewhere and a total stranger stepped up and said, hey, you don't talk to her like that. And it was like, whoa. I was in a club and a guy was getting a bit handsy and I was walking away and he tried to make a grab for me, and this guy who I never knew stepped in front of him and said, I don't think you want to do that. She's obviously not interested. Let her alone. Go find someone who is. And when the guy started to bristle a little bit, this guy wasn't backing down. And and then he turned around and gave me a nod and a wave, and that was it. He didn't try to come talk to me. Yeah, and because I felt uncomfortable there at that point, me and my friend left. I never even knew his name, and he never knew mine. But he stood up for me. And that has always, it's been, God, almost 40 years since that happened. And I still remember that he didn't have to know me to do the right thing. And I think that, if it's as subtle as just holding, and it's funny that you mentioned that about standing there all day, because I have gotten in that situation where it's like, I think I'm holding the door for one person, and then all of a sudden the whole family comes into the restaurant. And, and then it was the issue of, it's like, okay, now I'm going to be waiting behind a great big group. But it was funny because, they invited me to sit with them. They thought it was so sweet that I held a door for the whole herd. They said, no, you come sit at our table. You can come sit at our table. And so, I said, well, that's okay. Yeah, and so I just went and sat at the counter. But, I remember once I was on a bus and J Stun Z can definitely attest to this, that sometimes the bus gets crowded. And it was a situation where there was a bunch of kids who were going somewhere, and here in California we don't do the school bus thing anymore. You take your whole class and pop them on a bus, on the city bus. Some people will try to repay the kindness, yeah. And so the driver, I got on, and the driver was trying to manage, because also at the same time that this group of kids were being put on the bus, there was a group of elders who were going to a senior center. So we had these two opposing generations. And so the teachers are getting the kids on, and they're, having them sit down, and then the elders are getting on the bus. And I looked at the teachers and I said, we have elders getting on the bus. And they're like, and they are sitting down. And I said, I think it would be a very good lesson for you to allow these kids to stand up so they can offer seats to elders. And so, some of the old folks, it's okay. And, and I'm like, no, it's not. And I just started pointing out kids. I mean, I used to be a teacher, so it's like you, and you stand up. And they're looking, and and they stand up. And I said, okay, ma'am, why don't you have a seat there? And sir, why don't you have a seat there? I said, you young people, you can hold on to the bars. And I looked at the teachers who were sitting. I said, and it would be very good for your teachers to show an example. They looked at me so irritated, and then, but they got up, and all the elders got in, and and I looked at the bus driver and said, okay, it's all yours. And he had this big grin on his face. Well, it ended up that I needed to take an additional bus, so I was getting the money to pay extra for the transfer, or for a day pass. And he said, he pulled one loose and handed it to me. He said, don't even. He said, thank you. Because, Stacy! Oh my goodness, Stacy in the house. Long time no see. How have you been? I have been awesome, my dear. How are you? Oh my God, my goodness. Folks, y'all need to check out Stacy. It's like trying to talk and type at the same time. There we go. Oh, Papa Merritt beat me to it. Thanks, Papa. I thought you were paying attention to something else. And folks, if you want to go and see an absolutely delightful, streamer, she talks to her chat, she plays, and I mean, she is quite the warrior princess when, it comes to first person shooters. But, the main thing is that she's such a lovely person. And, I mean, a lot of streamers have a lot of stuff that go on in their lives. And they're willing to set stuff aside to be there for people to, to experience and to help them feel better. Because honestly, streamers are doing an amazing job of helping hold this world together emotionally. I mean, I believe that because I was paying attention in class. Good boy. So, but the thing is that I don't think streamers really realize, and which is why I really wanted to create something that's to help encourage streamers. I'm good. I've been super busy with work, but saw you were live, so I thought I'd pop by. My dad was a bus driver once, and he had a mother with 3 kids. They were renting and horseplaying on the bus. Anyway, pulled the bus over, got up, told the kids to sit down, as well as the mother did. Not. I know. It's really such, I mean, just that basic good behavior and basic good manners. But, it is, and it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much. And actually, I have found more young people, I mean, and people talk about young people, and I don't like that. I really don't. I mean, can they be occasionally loud and boisterous and excited and all of that stuff? I don't see those as bad things. Those are very good things. Those are things that are appropriate for young people to do, because I can't think of a single person my age who, when we were young, we weren't loud and, excitable and boisterous and, occasionally the table you didn't want to sit next to at Denny's. And we were always very polite. We always said, yes, ma'am, or yes, sir. We were always, but, I think that the world is in very good hands when I think about the young people that are out there. And a lot of them are streaming. A lot of folks in their 20s and, and yes, I do consider people in their 30s young people. So, that given. And the idea that you've got people who are willing to spend hours and hours and hours online. I mean, they could be playing games by themselves, but they do that to give somebody else a way to step out of what's burdening them for a little bit. Streamers are vital. I'm sorry, as far as I'm concerned, streamers should be supported by the government, because it is good to be able to have an opportunity to give people a reason and a chance to take a breath, to, to have somebody say, hey, I'm happy to see you. I'm glad you're here. How are you doing? And wait for an answer. And, if somebody, I've seen so many streams where if somebody says they're not doing good, the streamer just really is there to give that support and say, wow, I'm sorry to hear that. You know, you're going to be okay. You're going to make it. You know, you can do this. You know, ask for help. And they'll even offer, you know, it's like, hey, contact me if you need help. I went to the gas station with about $6.75, got me some drinks, and when I was leaving, this elderly woman was about to walk into the store, but she turned around to get her mask, and I held the door open the whole 3 minutes. And when she went inside, she said, "Thank you for that, and have a blessed day." And to be honest, that brightened my day yesterday. You know what? Hey, that, first off, that doesn't surprise me, Papa Merritt, that you would do that, because I know you're a very, very sweet young man. But, you know, it is when we take time for other people, when we make time for other people, when we're patient, when, you know, when we have a chance to put a smile on somebody's face, you know, that can mean the world to that person. That could totally turn around something. And when you see somebody's face light up because of something that you did, you know, that lights up something inside of ourselves. It's like, wow. You know that, and I'm so glad you shared that, because that's the thing, the type of thing that needs sharing. Those feel-good moments. Because yeah, there's a lot of hard stuff happening in the world, and there's also a lot of amazing stuff that doesn't make the news. The kindnesses of a young man who's willing to wait while an elder, you know, puts their mask on and not make her feel bad for it, and, you know, not, come on. I mean, honestly, I am very optimistic about the future, because we've got so many of you who are, you know, you're going to be running things one day, and I think the world will be very safe in your hands. See, and if I didn't feel that, I wouldn't, you know, have my plan of retiring in an RV and just roaming around the country, because I know things are going to be okay. I know that, you know, things will move forward, that we will evolve as people, because you've got these, you know, amazing folks. You know, you guys, yeah, you guys are going to be in charge of everything one day. All you, you know, teens and tweens and 20s and even, you know, 30s who are starting to step up into, you know, running things. With the RV, like you were, I start the engine and move. Yep. I am going to be, you know, just tooling around. I'm going to have a Rottweiler, and his name is going to be Carl. And me and Carl and, you know, Luna. Where is Luna? Oh, she's down there on the floor. You know, we're going to be tooling around, and I will stream from my RV. I will stream from the road. So I'm very much looking forward to that. I retire. Well, of course I'm going to come see you in Texas, because I want a burger. And you have already promised me an awesome hamburger and a steak. So, you know, of course I'm coming to Texas. You know, my goodness. So, you know, it is, you know, and, you know, going by places where, you know, people are. And oh, by the way, it's not just going to be here, because I intend to do some traveling, you know, through, you know, I have folks in Scotland who I've wanted to see for a long time, and, you know, and I want to go back to, you know, the UK and, you know, and visit and enjoy and sightsee, all of that stuff. So what I'm doing now is, you know, I've been working on this plan for about 7 years, and making sure that I have what I need to do it set aside, and, you know, what resources am I going to, as long as you keep streaming, we need you. Oh, thank you, sweetheart. We need you too. You are a truly lovely young lady, inside and out. And, you know, yeah, I will definitely keep streaming. I'm going to stay here, you know, as long as I've got breath to be here for you guys. My buddy's dad recently retired from being a Texas State game warden. Wow. And see, the big thing about retiring now, I mean, I know that most of you have got maybe a minute or two before you have to worry about that. But, for those of us who are like on the doorstep, the most important thing about retiring is that you find something to do. You have to have a reason to get up. You can't just retire and just kind of sit, because those are the folks that end up getting sick. Those are the folks that have their health decline. The day I retire, which is going to be June 18th, 2024 at 3 o'clock. Very specific. I got at least 50 years till I'm able to retire. Well, then you got a whole lot of life to live. And the idea that I want to retire at the point that I'm going to, because I want to be able to live and I want to be able to do cool stuff. And I've known a lot of people who waited and it's like, well, I'm going to retire later, and I'm going to do all this stuff. But then by the time they do retire and they have the chance to do the stuff they want to do, either their health is ill or their partner's health is ill and they wait too long. I'm not waiting. And, I wish I could retire now. Oh. Well, I will hope for a big lottery win for you. I mean, it is, getting into your 60s, things start to change perspective, and you start realizing that you've got more time behind you than ahead of you, which means that time ahead of me, I'm going to make as special as possible. And honestly, you guys are all a part of that. Each and every one of you is a part of how special my life is. And I want you to realize that. And sometimes you have to flat out tell people. And that is something that I've noticed streamers are very good at. They're pretty darn good at letting people know how much they appreciate them. And like I said, that can make a big difference in somebody to feel appreciated. So I appreciate each and every one of you, because my life is so much more than it was when I started streaming. Yeah, a little too soon for me, don't have the resources to do it, but you will. You will, JJ. And, yeah. Join the army, retire when you're 40, and have a full pension. Well, there is that possibility. I mean, for some of us, that's a little late in the gate. But yeah, I mean, both my parents were military. I mean, granted, it doesn't cover as much as it used to. It is, I mean, it used to be, the military were taken really, really good care of. And I don't see that quite so much now. I mean, it's still good, but I don't see it quite so much. Yeah, that is, KIA. Yeah, that would be the other thing. I mean, it is not it's not an easy thing. And it is for those who step up into service on that level, absolutely nothing but love. Because I remember what it was like to grow up in that life. And it's a sacrifice, and absolute love for the families, because as a little girl I knew what it was to not know if my dad was coming home. And it was weird because we all kind of started accepting it. And if we were out playing, because I lived on a lot of bases when my dad would go overseas, and if we saw like the commanding officer and the chaplain and usually a couple of other officers driving up the street in a Jeep, we would all kind of stop and see whose house they stopped in front of. Because usually if that happened during the day and they were in their Class A uniforms, it wasn't good. And we just learned to have that be a part of our lives. So, for those who, both those who serve and those who serve by waiting at home, absolute love. The military still takes care of us 3 meals a day plus 3 weather type clothings and somewhere new to sleep. Yes. Oh, yeah. You know, it is, you know, my dad he lied his way into the Air Force at the age of 16 in 1949, which meant that he was 16 years old and his first stop was Korea. So yeah, you know, they didn't ask a whole lot of questions in those days. And, you know, I mean, the one thing that I don't like about the military now is that you have to pass a credit check in order to get in. And I found that very weird, because it's like, you know, in my day, if you couldn't find a job anywhere else, that's where you went. Or, you know, if you needed to have a little bit more structure in your life, or if you tended to get into trouble. Oh my goodness, Luna, what? What? Oh my gosh. Wait a minute. Luna gets demanding. Here I am making a point, and she's like, I don't care. Luna wants to join the military. No, Luna already considers herself, you know, like the CO of this particular space. So yeah, Kitty has a lot to say on the topic. Yes, you know, it's like, why be in the military? I am queen. As most cats consider themselves. But, you know, but she is a sweetheart, and I think she's got a boyfriend. Somebody moved into a cabin that has a male cat named Limon, and I have the feeling that he's her new boyfriend. So, you know, oh my goodness. Hold on. Ooh, I can use my be right back screen. Hold on, somebody made this for me. Hold on. Okay, I almost never use that, so I will use any excuse, even the 2 seconds, to go and check the door. But, you know, it's like they made me an intro screen, a stream ending, and be right back. And I almost never use the be right back because I'm always sitting here. So, so it is, you know, it really is, you know, a way that we can, you know, when we appreciate, if I see someone in uniform, I will go up to them and say, thank you for your service. And, you know, express appreciation. Because I think that's something that's important. And we can do that for someone in a military uniform. We can also do that for the person bagging our groceries. To say, you know what? What's your Twitter? Oh, Twitter is Dr. Ayleen, DrAylenHH. Yeah, that's it. So, the idea that we can show appreciation for anybody, because everybody can use being appreciated. I have walked up to strangers, and for some reason, something will say, you know, they need to hear something, so I'll tell them, I'm proud of you. And every single time I've done that, and I've done that a lot. I mean, you know, I'm old. I get to do stuff like that. You know, we once you reach a certain age, you can start just randomly going up to strangers and saying things. And when I say I'm proud of you, every single time the person might need to hear that. I may or may not have snagged it from your profile. I did a cadet program for 7 years and it made me a better person. You made what, officer? Yay! Oh my gosh, that is not easy. And, you know, and hey, congrats. I'm proud of you. That is so awesome. You know, and you know, that is very cool. And the idea that, you know, you serve in that way, and thank you for your service. You know, being, you know, that is just so cool. And, you know, I just think that's really sweet, is that, and thank you for sharing that with us. Thank you so much. You know, because I like when people share opportunities to be celebrated. And I think everybody should share whatever opportunity they have to be celebrated. And it's not being egotistical. It's not being narcissistic. If you did something really cool, share it. If there's something you're proud of, let people know. Because, you know, we all need reasons to celebrate. We all need reasons to say, you know what? And to be able to embrace good news. Because we can use as much as we can get. We can use all the good news we can get. We can use all of the I mean, people talk about, like, when I do like this, you know, it's like, you know what? I like that. Because, you know, to me, gotta go. Have a good rest of the stream, please. Catch up with you later. And hey, we'll see you this evening on stream. You know, it's, you know, being able to, you know, it's like when I clap, it's just, I want that person to really see on the outside what I'm feeling on the inside. And that's what I feel on the inside. Whenever somebody comes into the stream and I do that, it's because it makes me happy. You know, I'm, you know, just so blessed to have so many wonderful people who are willing, when they've got all kinds of choices as to who they're watching, or, you know, even for those who are hanging out in the Loving Lurkers Lounge, you know, I so appreciate you. And, you know, you make an old boomer lady's day. And that's why I kind of like streaming in the morning, is because the whole day I get to carry, you know, the good vibes and the good feelings I get from all of you. And I hope in some small ways, you know, you get to carry a little bit of this old lady with you. Someone who appreciates you. Someone who's proud of you. Someone who realizes that there's a lot of stuff going on in your life that maybe other people don't know about. And that it's good to be acknowledged that you're being strong, and you're being very brave, and you're being very resilient. I was a part of 2818 RCAC, Royal Canadian Army Cadets. Awesome! Well, you know, I'm a Newfie. I don't know if you knew that, but yeah, I was born in Newfoundland, Stevensville, Newfoundland, at an Air Force base that's located there, Ernest Harmon Air Force Base. So, and oh my goodness, one of my first big, you know, journey is going to be heading up north, and I'm going to drive in my RV from the west coast of Canada to the east coast, where I'm going to get over to Newfoundland, and I want to have my birthday. You know, I'm going to leave June 18th, so by August 22nd, I want to celebrate my birthday where I was born. And to me, that's something that's important to me. And it's something I've always wanted to do, was to go back. I mean, I know it's not a base anymore. It's probably an airfield, but, you know, I guess it's still open. It's still there. And I actually found old, like, you know, maps of the base. So I even know where the old hospital was. And my parents were in a trailer that was right next door to the hospital. And that's important to me. And I want to see, you know, all the different parts of Canada, and, you know, visit friends I've made up there. And, you know, so yeah, I will let you know when I'm up there. It's going to be a couple of more years. But yeah, it's fun to dream about, you know, meeting people and you know, meeting the friends I've made, and looking forward to making even more friends and meeting even more people. And, you know, for those of you who, if you get a chance, they have a web page, you could Google them. Yes, I will definitely Google them. But, you know, and I would guess that that was a pretty, that wasn't exactly a walk in the park in, the spring to get through that program. That I'm sure that took a toll, because not everybody gets through stuff like that. So, good on you. And I will definitely look them up. And, I'll even swing by that area when I'm tooling around in my RV. So, that's about our time. Now, a couple of announcements. On Thursdays, I am now starting my stream, going to camp and getting paid for it, man. That was great. See, that is the attitude to have. And especially, it's like my dad used to say that, people would ask him about getting through boot camp. And, he said, first off, don't go into it with the attitude, oh, I'm going to suffer. Go into it with the best attitude you can, make the best of it, realize it's going to be hard work, but it's going to get you somewhere. So, the people who come in who automatically are saying, I'm going to suffer, usually they don't do well, and sometimes they don't even make it. But having an attitude like that, darn right. See, and that will get you through so much in life. And there's a lot of people who haven't figured that out. That, the attitude that you bring into something is pretty much what you're going to find. If you have something major you're going to be facing, treat it like an opportunity. Treat it like, you know what? I'm going to prove something. I'm going to show people really what I'm made of. And that can be an amazing thing. It's not like, oh, I'm going to be streaming for 8 hours. It's like, I'm going to be streaming for 8 hours. Let's do this. Because during that time, you're going to be making people happy. You're going to be raising people's spirits. You're going to be putting a smile on somebody's face. And that is a very cool way to spend a day. So, as I was saying, Thursday, I will start streaming at 10 rather than 9 because I have a meeting that I'm going to be having to do weekly for a while. So yeah, but that's okay. And, doing it an hour later, it's like, okay, well, for some people that 9, wherever their time is not very convenient, they can tune in then. So, it'll be interesting. And, Survival Saturday is still Survival Saturday. And I am really, and the best part about streaming in the morning is that when I finish my day in the evening, I can go hang out in all you guys' cool streams. So, it's all fun. And I appreciate each and every one of you. And I appreciate what you give to the world. And I appreciate the struggles that you go through, and yet, you are still kind to other people. I appreciate the fact that you've been hurt, but you didn't become that. And that you believe enough in yourself to just keep on going. We all bend sometimes, but we don't have to break unless we choose to. It's rough. And sometimes it can be hard, but you've got this. And I don't say things I don't mean, and I don't care if I've never met you in person. I will tell you for a fact, you've got this. There's nothing bigger than you. There's nothing stronger than you. You are bright enough, and you are resilient enough, and you are creative enough, and, you've got everything you need to be able to overcome what you're facing, because you've overcome 100% of what you've faced so far. May not have always been pretty, but you've done it. And I hope that you will always remember that you are the only you in all of the universe. You're the only you that has ever been, and the only you that will ever be. And what that does is it makes you special, it makes you sacred, and it makes you necessary. Because as the only you in all of the universe wouldn't be the same or complete without you. So, That's going to be our time. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here and for sharing this time with me. And what we're going to do is we're going to keep this fun train. Whoa, Warlord Reiku is streaming Ark. Okay. We gonna have to give a raid. We're gonna give a raid to our friend Warlord Reiku, because we are just gonna go over and say hi. R-A-K-K-U. R-A-K-K-U. Okay, so we're gonna do a raid. If you can come along, that would be awesome. If you have to go and do something else with your day, I hope you have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night. And as always, I wish you balance and I wish you blessings from my heart to yours. Love you, and we'll see you tomorrow we'll see you tomorrow at 9, regular time. Tomorrow's Wednesday. That's right. Bye.